Ever been in a situation where you thought you were doing the right thing, trying to lend a hand, but somehow it all just went sideways?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even made things worse. That's the kind of sticky situation we're wading into today.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? This whole idea that something as seemingly straightforward as help can have such complex and, well, sometimes negative outcomes.
And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're not wading through tons of research today.
Right.
Instead, we're focusing on one powerful little story. Four-Ikana, that's a Bengali allegory called Upakara Chaya, translates to the shadow of benevolence.
Shadow of Benevolence. That title itself says a lot.
It really does. It's a compact narrative, but it seriously unpacks the two-sided nature of offering help.
So our goal here isn't just to retell a story. It's more about dissecting its layers, right?
Right.
Pulling the core insight.
Exactly. What can this story teach us about, the true essence of helpfulness where it can stumble?
And maybe give us a fresh perspective on something we often just take for granted.
Precisely. Okay, let's get into this story, Upakar Chaya. So picture this. It's a region facing a really brutal drought.
Okay.
The landscape is barren. Life is really, really struggling. And in this tough environment, we meet Joy. He's a young man, and he's fueled by this vision to bring back some greenery.
Just focusing on one thing.
Yeah, he channels all his energy into nurturing a single fruit tree.
Wow. That image, one tree in a desolate place, that immediately grabs you, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's such a potent symbol of hope,
Yeah.
this concentrated effort against just overwhelming adversity.
And his first actions are what you'd expect, right? Hard work. He's carrying water from a distant town.
Which represents that conventional, effortful approach to providing aid.
Yeah.
Pouring yourself into it.
He's pouring everything he has into this one tree.
Yeah.
But then the drought gets worse. Water becomes even scarcer.
Right. The pressure mounts.
And Joy reaches this kind of breaking point in a moment of sheer desperation because he needs to keep that tree alive.
Yeah.
He makes a pretty radical choice.
Okay. What does he do?
He starts using his own urine to water it.
Wow. Okay. That's intense.
Yeah.
This is where the allegory really kicks in, isn't it? This act, born out of that intense desire to help, it's both immediate and deeply personal. It offers a kind of instant life source for the tree, a solution born of necessity, maybe.
Seems like it.
But it also feels inherently unsustainable. You just know it can't go on forever.
Right.
The immediate insight for you, listening, might be to think about those quick fix solutions in your own life. Are they actually viable long term?
And, in the short term, it looks like it's working. If the tree lives, it even sprouts leaves. Joy feels this sense of triumph like, yes, I did it.
That initial success.
But months go by, and then a mendicant, sort of a wandering holy man, arrives in the village.
Okay.
He sees the tree, observes Joy, and offers him a very, very different perspective.
The voice of wisdom arrives, or at least an alternative view.
Exactly. The mendicant steps in, offering that crucial external perspective. He immediately sees the imbalance in what Joy's doing.
What does he say specifically?
He points out that, yeah, the tree is surviving, but this method, it's actually draining Joy's own vitality, his life force.
The cost to the helper.
And it's disrupting the natural equilibrium. And here's the kicker.
Yeah.
The tree bears no fruit.
No fruit. So it's alive, but not thriving, not fulfilling its purpose.
Exactly. It's surviving, but not in a truly productive, natural way.
That raises a huge question for us, doesn't it? Is our help truly beneficial if it prevents the recipient from thriving naturally or fulfilling their potential?
Joy is, well, pretty shocked. He was so focused on just keeping the tree alive.
Tunnel vision, maybe.
Yeah. He hadn't considered the cost to himself or the long-term implications for the tree itself. But credit to him, he listens.
He does.
He takes the mendicant's words to heart and stops using his, let's call it, unconventional method.
Okay, that's interesting. It shows he's willing to learn, to adapt, even when it means giving up something that seemed to be working.
Right.
It really underscores the importance of being open to feedback, doesn't it? Especially when it challenges how we first decided to help.
But then, things take a dark turn.
Oh.
Within just a few weeks of stopping, the leaves start to wither.
Oh, no.
And within a month, the tree is dead.
Dead. After all that.
Completely dead. Joy is just heartbroken. His attempt to bring life, his desperate measure, it resulted in death. It's such a stark, unexpected outcome.
Wow. That unexpected consequence is really central to the story's power, I think.
Me too.
It just drives home the point that even our most well-intentioned efforts, if they overlook natural principles or, long-term sustainability,
Yeah.
they can lead to really negative results.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about those times when your best efforts still ended in disappointment.
Definitely makes you think. But the story doesn't quite end with the dead tree. There's a final scene.
Joy posts a notice at the village school. It's quite moving.
What does it say?
It reads, "Not all help brings well-being, and not all prohibitions bring harm."
That's profound.
And then there's more. "Help with love, but knowingly. Otherwise, help itself becomes a disaster."
Wow.
These
Okay.
words really feel like the distilled wisdom he gained from this whole really painful experience.
Absolutely. Those statements just beautifully capture the nuanced nature of upakar, of benevolence.
Yeah.
They challenge that simple equation we often make, help equals good.
Right.
And they introduce those critical elements, wisdom, understanding, thinking about the broader consequences.
Let's dig a bit deeper into the symbolism here because it's so rich.
Yeah.
That drought-stricken region, like a kind of a 180 PC shades.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know the exact place, you get that feeling, right? Parched, desperate.
Totally. It serves as this powerful metaphor for any situation where something vital is lacking. Any kind of hardship, personal, community, maybe even environmental.
Exactly. It sets the stage, creates that problem that demands a solution, that void someone feels they have to fill.
And Joy's dream, that single green tree, it perfectly embodies hope, doesn't it? And that fundamental human drive we have to improve things, to foster growth in life, even when things are tough.
Then we have that really striking act, Joy using his own waste. We touched on it, but it gives this immediate, seemingly positive effect.
Right, the leaves appear.
But it's ultimately unsustainable, self-depleting. What deeper meaning do you draw from that specific act?
Well, it speaks to a kind of desperate focus, I think, maybe even a bit of a myopic obsession with the immediate crisis, without considering the bigger picture, the larger system, the long-term repercussions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It highlights how our good intentions, especially when they're fueled by strong emotions, can sometimes lead us to adopt solutions that are ultimately detrimental, harmful even.
You ourselves, too, like the mendicant pointed out.
Exactly, both to ourselves and maybe to the person or thing we're trying to help. It's like forcing a solution instead of working with natural processes,
And that might resonate with you, listening, thinking about times you felt compelled to offer immediate support, even if it stretched your own resources really thin.
Definitely.
And the mendicant, as we said, is that voice of wisdom, that external perspective offering a broader view, an understanding of the natural order. He reminds us there are underlying principles at play that we kind of need to respect. Can you recall a time when an outside perspective just totally shifted how you saw something?
Oh, for sure. His role is pivotal here. He emphasizes balance, understanding the inherent rhythms of things. He isn't criticizing Joy's desire to help.
No, not the intention.
But the method,
Yeah.
the unsustainable method. He points out its fundamental flaws.
And the tree's death, despite all of Joy's effort, it's such a stark consequence. It really hammers home that idea. Misguided effort, even when driven by the purest intentions, can lead to outcomes we never, ever wanted or anticipated.
It's a tough lesson.
It really is.
The death of the tree serves as that ultimate symbol of unintended consequences. It forces Joy and us to confront the harsh reality that his initial act of help, though rooted in this desire to create life,
Yeah.
ultimately led to its demise.
And finally, Joy's message at the school, not all help brings well-being and not all prohibitions bring harm. And then help with love, but knowingly. Otherwise, help itself becomes a disaster.
Yeah.
This just feels like the absolute core of the story's wisdom, right? Distilled down.
It is. It's such a mature understanding of benevolence. It moves way beyond the simplistic idea that any act of helping is automatically good. And it introduces that essential need for discernment, for knowledge, and for carefully considering the long-term impact.
So the story really illustrates this two-sided nature of upakar, of help. Help given with a good heart, sure, but without wisdom, without really understanding the potential consequences, it can actually cause harm.
Exactly. It challenges us to look beyond that immediate feel-good moment of offering help.
Right, the helper's high.
Yeah, and to really consider the ripple effects of our actions. What seems like a quick and easy fix might actually be masking deeper issues, or maybe even creating new problems down the line.
And it also highlights how those superficial or, immediate solutions can have really damaging long-term effects.
Both for the helper and the helped.
Right. It brings up that whole tricky idea of potentially creating dependency.
This touches upon a really important point. It reminds me of concepts in social psychology around enabling behaviors.
Yeah.
Sometimes our well-intentioned assistance can inadvertently hinder someone's growth, their ability to become self-reliant. It's not just about the act of helping itself,
No.
but about its long-term impact on the recipient's own agency, their resilience.
It really emphasizes the need to consider the actual needs of the person we're trying to help and maybe the natural order of things rather than just satisfying our own urge to act.
Our desire to feel like we're making a difference.
Yeah, exactly that.
Precisely. True helpfulness requires empathy, really trying to understand the other person's situation rather than just imposing our own solutions from our, limited perspective.
And it brings up this interesting paradox too. Sometimes what looks like preventing harm, like the mendicant advising Joy to stop.
Which seemed like sound advice.
Right. It can actually lead to a negative outcome because the initial help created this unsustainable situation. It's a real catch-22, isn't it?
It really highlights the inherent complexities of intervening in established systems, even if those systems are flawed. Once a dependency, however unintentional, is created, simply withdrawing support without a thoughtful transition, well, it can indeed have severe consequences, like the tree dying.
And the explanation provided after the story in the original text really reinforces this. It emphasizes that beneficial help needs logic and knowledge.
It cautions against blind love.
Yes, or immature kindness.
That post-narrative explanation really distills the allegory into practical wisdom, doesn't it? It underscores that good intentions are a starting point, absolutely essential.
Crucial.
But they must be coupled with a rational understanding of the situation and the potential outcomes of our actions. Immature kindness that suggests a form of helping driven purely by emotion without that crucial element of foresight.
It really drives home the idea that just wanting to do good isn't enough. We have to understand both the purpose behind our help and, importantly, what the likely results will be.
Absolutely. It's about evolving maybe from a place of well-meaning impulse to one of thoughtful, informed action.
So as you're listening to this, how does this story resonate with your own life? Can you think of times when your attempts to help someone actually backfired or had unintended negative consequences? It's something I know I've definitely experienced.
Oh, me too. And reflecting on our own experiences through the lens of this story can be incredibly illuminating, can't it? It encourages us to really examine our motivations and, crucially, the actual impact of our interventions, not just how we intended them to land.
It makes you consider that fine line between genuinely supporting someone and accidentally enabling dependence, doesn't it?
It really does.
Sometimes the most genuinely helpful thing is actually to empower someone to help themselves, even if that feels harder or less direct in the short term.
This speaks directly to the importance of fostering autonomy and resilience rather than creating reliance. Sustainable help aims to build capacity, right?
Yeah.
To equip individuals to navigate their own challenges.
Not just keep patching things up.
Exactly, not to perpetually meet their needs for them.
And it really brings home the significance of thinking long term. Are we offering a quick fix that might, create bigger problems down the road?
Or are we truly contributing to lasting well-being?
Right.
Sustainability is such a cornerstone of true benevolence, of upakar. It involves considering not just the immediate needs, but also the future implications of our actions, both for the individual and for the wider context they exist within.
So as we kind of bring this deep dive into Upakara Chaya to a close, that core message really stays with you, I think. Not all help brings well-being, and not all prohibitions bring harm. It's such a powerful reminder to approach the whole act of helping with a more nuanced, more thoughtful perspective.
It definitely challenges us to move beyond those simplistic notions good intentions are enough, and to cultivate a more critical, more informed approach to how we offer support and assistance to others.
And that final thought from Joy's notice. Help with love, but knowingly. Otherwise, help itself becomes a disaster. That's really potent, maybe even a bit cautionary to carry with us.
It perfectly encapsulates that delicate but crucial balance, doesn't it? Between compassion in our hearts and wisdom in our actions when we engage with others and try to make a positive impact.
So here's a final question for you, the listener, to maybe consider. What are some situations in your own life, whether in the past or even right now, where this shadow of benevolence, that potential for well-intentioned help to inadvertently lead to negative outcomes, might be at play?
That's a good one.
It's definitely something to ponder.